Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us with another episode of the Absolutely Bookkeeping Podcast. Today, I'm joined by Tom Pope. Now, Tom, can you introduce yourself, who you work for, and also, what do you do?
Yeah, morning, Natasha. Thank you so much for having me on. Tom Pope here. So I work for a company called Adfin. Adfin is a new payments platform that we started 18 months ago. We are here to help businesses get paid. So we're a money-in platform, rebuilding payments infrastructure like direct debits and card payments, and then adding on to that a bunch of AI automations to help make it a lot more likely that businesses get money in their bank account. So that's me. Delighted to be here.
Perfect. So how did your journey begin in our industry? What made you want to do what you do?
Yeah, so it's quite funny. We always knew we wanted to start a payments company, and we were looking around because payments is a lot of us have been involved with for a long time, and we were looking around at all the different bits of payments, and we realized, well, okay, if you're going to do payments online with websites, then there's lots of great solutions out there, right? Things like Stripe and Shopify are fantastic. If you want to do payments in person, there are now lots of great modern companies doing card terminals and things like that. But as we looked at payments for professional services, we realized, oh God, like this is actually still super terrible, right? Like it's still super antiquated. You've got a bunch of point solutions, people like Go Cardless doing little pieces of the puzzle, but no one's sort of piecing it all together. So we actually went to Accountex in London 18 months ago. I think it was, May. I lose track of the time, but it was 18 months ago now. And we'd gone to a few different things. We talked to some lawyers, we talked to various different segments, we talked to some construction workers, and we went to Accountex and we just last minute did a stand. And we put up a big board saying something like, invoices your customers love paying. And all these accountants and bookkeepers came up to us and saying, well, so what's all this then? What's this invoices your customers love paying business? And we said, well, we do invoicing payments. Tell us about your problems. And essentially every single accountant or bookkeeper gave us a list of reasons why they were unhappy with the way that invoicing worked in their accounting software and with the existing payment providers, particularly Go Cardless and Stripe. And we sat there after 2 days and we said, we've just heard about 250 people tell us exactly the same thing. I think we might have a business here if we can solve these problems. So we set out to do that. So we started with direct debits and built much better direct debit processing. We made sure that it integrated with the accounting software much better. We'd actually made some friends at that Accountex, and they were our first users and testers, and they were the ones that said, oh, it's really annoying when Go Cardless's integration does this, or Stripe still chases even though the payment has been made. Can you fix all that stuff? So we went through this long list of things that everyone had told us was broken, and then built Adfin, basically.
Fabulous. Can I ask you, what is the one word that describes yourself with your relationship with technology at the moment?
Well, I mean, I have to love technology because I'm building a technology company.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptical technologist, right? Like I say that because I really do believe in the importance of human connection and in people. And I think it's very easy with technology these days just to go, oh, technology is here to automate, it's here to replace. That is never the case, right? Technology is always here to augment. And actually something that's really interesting with technology is that as it becomes better and better, it actually almost sometimes destroys itself. Yeah. So we've seen that. I'm sure, Natasha, you must get unbelievable amounts of email trying to sell you stuff now, right? And that's because you can now with AI automate sales emails so well that actually what happens is everybody uses it and therefore nobody looks at their emails anymore. So no one's ever going to buy from someone emailing them now because 50,000 companies are doing it. So almost technology is like killed itself, like a virus that's been so successful, it's like killed its host. So that we kind of don't believe in technology for that in that sense. We believe in technology when it can augment and make humans more effective. And I think what we're trying to build with Adfin is just take away a bunch of really tedious, boring stuff. And, that makes the role of the human in this picture a lot more interesting. Like no one actually likes chasing invoices, right? Like that's not a human enriching activity to do. So let's automate that so that you can do the interesting stuff.
Cool. So let's talk about your favorite. What is the Apple software you simply could not run your business or your life without?
Obviously I'd say Adfin. No, so I'd say, one thing, I would say this is a tip. We are big on the Google stack at Adfin. So we use Google Workspace. And one thing that I bang on all the time about to my poor team is one of the great things about Google Workspace is if you create actions in documents, they all feed into your personal tasks list.
Oh.
So you can have a team meeting, be writing your minutes or your notes, create an action, and then you can kind of tag it to Tom Pope, and then that will get amalgamated in my own tasks. And obviously I can add to my own tasks, and then from that central tasks list, you can kind of mark when stuff's done. But we find that unbelievably useful because I'll sit in those meetings all day, different agendas, different sets of people. You want a document that records what happened in the meeting and what's actually going to happen. So at the start of the next meeting, it's old fashioned, but it works, right? You can say, right, at the end of the last meeting, we said we were going to do 10 things. Have we done them?
Yeah.
But it means instead of everybody having to go away and write them down in their personal notebooks, you can kind of have that one source of truth. So we're really big on that Google Tasks, Google Workspace stuff.
Would you say it was a game changer from day one? Was it saying that it really was a key piece of app that really sort of helped your business?
It's probably not a game changer, no, but it's one of those things that I've used Microsoft's stack for a long time. And then when we switched to Google, we were like, wow, this is like a seriously much more efficient way of doing things than we were doing before. Like Google for collaboration and tasks and things like that is really, really great. So. Yeah.
So what's the key problems that Google did solve for you? Obviously, you've mentioned that you can identify tasks will go into personalized areas so they don't forget to do something. But what other kind of problems did it solve for you?
The other big one for us has been just the collaboration side of it.
Yeah.
So being able to really easily comment on different things, reply to those comments, have it all kind of linked nicely back to Gmail. And as I said, the task view, like that kind of is, when you're trying to run a very modern business that's very collaborative, having those tools makes it so much more efficient and so much more productive. I'm sure there'll be people listening to your podcast who kind of still work in Microsoft, and you're sending people emails and you're saying, oh, have you got the latest version of this document? Have you not? And I know there's SharePoint now, and I know there's kind of Microsoft is getting a bit better at the live documents, but I think Google has been leading the way on that. So.
Would you say it's helped you scale or save time or possibly even keep your sanity by using, you've mentioned now, obviously, like it has a lot more advancements than Microsoft is trying to catch up with it?
Yeah, definitely, right? I can't imagine now switching away. When my last company, I was one of the payments business at a company called Tink. When Tink got acquired by Visa was a Microsoft shop, and we were all still, we were running on Google. It was like, oh my God, this is like going back to an alien world, right? Like, I can't remember how this works. And in fact, for Adfin, I was going back into Microsoft Excel about 6 months to a year ago to write a bunch of documents for the FCA. Right? As part of our regulatory licensing application, the FCA insists it's submitted as an Excel file. I was working around this document, and we had the latest Excel, right? Because we bought it fresh for this purpose. And it crashed, and I lost like a whole morning's worth of work. I was like going back in time 15 years to when we were all using Excel on our desktops, and if you did hit save, your document would disappear. And I was like, wow, it's still that bad. How is it still this bad now? So no, we're a bit of a combat to that. Yes, if you're an advanced pro user, there's features missing, and I used to be an advanced Excel user, and there's things I miss. But no, I think for a modern business with where you're not pushing the envelope of financial modeling or pushing the envelope of presentations, I'm sure like many accountants and bookkeepers, I think Google's great.
If you had a magic wand and can change just one thing about it, what would you improve, or would you not need to improve anything?
Oh, what would I improve? Oh, good question. Okay, so you can tell Google is terrified about AI because they're ramming AI down your throats left, right, and center everywhere in that app, right? So this is another trend I think we're seeing at the moment, which is there are companies which are built to be AI native and have been just using it from day one, and it's just fundamentally part of their product. Adfin is in that category, right? Like you don't even know there's a bunch of AI in Adfin. We don't say, oh, look, here's our AI-powered agents to do X. It's just all there working in the background. Where some of these legacy softwares, are really bad at that. And I'm not going to name accounting softwares that are doing this, but they're like, boom, here's your AI assistant, and you're like, well, this isn't actually that useful. It's fun. It's not. So I hope I'm in the slightest. Google's doing a lot of that, right? So now wherever you do anything, it's like, would you like AI to improve this? And you click it, and it makes it worse. So I would say to Google, stop ramming AI down our throats. We don't need it. Use it more smartly.
Have you paired with any other apps to kind of supercharge it? So obviously the Google kind of practice kind of thing has loads of like add-ons, and you can do things. Have you actually sort of made any quirky sort of add-ons to make it really sing and dance for you?
Yeah. We sync all our data up across different sources. So we've got our kind of actual underlying Adfin platform data, all of our payments and transactions, which we obviously analyze because we're always interested in how we can make sure it is faster and we get basically get people paid faster. So we synchronize that with things like Google Sheets, so we can do quick analysis with our sort of other data that we might have from HubSpot and things like that. We kind of use it to bring all data together, and there's some quite good add-ons you can use for that. Because at the end of the day, most people, I think, are still most comfortable doing analysis in spreadsheets, right? Like, yeah, software can do fancy things, but at the end of the day, you can't beat a pivot table and a chart. So we use it for that a lot. We have all our, there's lots of plugins and things, so that things like, we will, as a company, when we're emailing clients from Gmail, we have a HubSpot plugin for Gmail. So all of our client activity is then logged into HubSpot. So at any given time, I can go in and I can see, right, let's look at Natasha's HubSpot record. Okay, here are all the different people who are emailing Natasha across the company. You can see it all in one place. You can write notes. It just makes for a much better client experience, especially in a company like ours, where you might come to Adfin, you might have an initial conversation with a salesperson, but then very quickly be working with Chris for an onboarding call. Well, Chris can then immediately see, okay, what did Natasha and Andy talk about? We synchronize all our AI notes into HubSpot as well. So there's always a kind of perfect record. What I never want is someone signing up to Adfin and then they speak to one person and then they're like, right, you now need to have a technical onboarding call, and they get on the technical onboarding call and they ask you the same questions. So you're like, well, why did I bother having the first call? Right, it's a complete waste of time. So Google is quite good, I think, at allowing other apps and third parties to integrate so that you can put the data where it needs to be, which is great.
Apart from the Google suite, what are your 3 top go-to apps in your tech stack? And you can actually mention Adfin there if you wish.
Well, we use Adfin to get paid. Adfin uses Adfin, obviously. In fact, a lot of the new features that Adfin builds are a result of Adfin using Adfin. All of our credit control tools actually started with Lucy, who does this for us. We're now billing quite a lot of customers, right? Like nearly 1,000 customers. Well, we've got over 1,000 customers. We're billing nearly 1,000 customers every month. And so actually when direct debits fail and when, people have questions, we do need Adfin to keep track of it, right? We use the new custom credit control statuses we've built to keep track of who are we chasing, who are we not chasing. We built an AI chasing tool called Autopilot, which can automate the sending of emails, because Lucy was sort of finding herself every month essentially having to write the same template email. Dear Natasha, we've noticed your direct debit for invoice number 1234 has failed for amount XYZ. Please, would you pay using this link, right? Like she'd have to copy and paste 5 or 6 times to get that email together. Now with Adfin Autopilot, boom, one click, whole thing's generated from a template, off you go. So a lot of like Adfin's tools have been built off Adfin, which is great. So yeah, I think one would definitely be Adfin. We're a big Slack organization, so I think we'd struggle without Slack, to be honest, especially when we're running engineering in different places, kind of keeping everyone together. I don't know if many accountants and bookkeepers use Slack. Do you use Slack, Natasha?
I did. I didn't get on with it very much, though. I think some of my clients are a little bit old school, so they didn't like that kind of.
They're like, what's up?
Instantaneous Slack is. So Slack is so good with instantaneous communication. Yeah,
it is, and we use it with our accountants, and it's fantastic. But yeah, and obviously it has advantages over things like. A lot of people are pro WhatsApp, but for me, running a business is going to be regulated soon. The idea of pumping a bunch of potentially sensitive information into Meta's servers in the US and using WhatsApp in a way that which is ultimately linked to people's personal phones, fills me with horror. Right? Like at least Slack is, it's controlled, it's safe. You can put guardrails around it and things like that. So Adfin, Slack. We've talked about Google. What else do we find essential? I would recommend a note-taking app called Granola as well. Yeah. Have you come across that one?
No, I haven't heard of that one, no.
That's a really good one. It's an AI note taker, but unlike all the other note takers, it doesn't join your screen as a little box. Oh. You know what I mean? When you join and it's like, Natasha's note taker, and you're like, why are you here? Bugger off. Whereas Granola sits in the background and records, and the transcriptions are really, really good. It has things like Slack integration. So, one of the things we do at Adfin now is, we'll record this call with Granola. It will pump out notes in a very specific format. We've trained it to give very clear actions, and then that's all linked up into HubSpot, and it will post it to Slack so everyone can kind of see what's going on.
No, that's good, because I think Otter is the most annoying one that just appears all the time.
Yeah.
You want it to or not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Granola's the only one that seems to have cracked the "don't join the call" as an annoying black box thing. I don't quite know how they've done it, but
So how often do you review your tech stack? So obviously you're the forefront of the tech innovation because you created your own business from kind of solving problems. But how often do you look at your problems with your tech stack and review them?
all the time. I mean, honestly, we will adopt stuff all the time, and we're always experimenting, right? So we try new data analytics tools, we try new software, and the kind of the approach of the team, we have the core of Adfin, like all our core data is very heavily protected, super robustly. We're a payments platform where we've got to be very careful. So that core, the way our IT works is that core is super protected. You can't just pump Adfin data into anything at all, right? It's ring of steel around that. But people can install other apps that can't access that data on their laptops. So you can experiment with things like Granola in relatively risk-free settings, like sales calls, but you couldn't just go and pump, connect Granola to our Adfin platform, obviously, right? That would be highly risky. So I think, for accountants and bookkeepers, it's probably a similar kind of story where you need to work out what data is just, if that leaked or something went wrong with it, I would destroy my business because that don't touch. But allowing people to experiment with the tools that are touching more harmless data is, I think, really important. Especially if you're employing really tech savvy people who are just going out, people need to hear that, I heard about this cool tool. Great, try it. A couple of days. Oh no, it's actually a load of rubbish. I don't agree. Fine, move on.
I think that was me with Fixer AI. I loved the concept of it. I tried it for about 5 minutes and it overwhelmed me with what it was taking control of, that I uninstalled it straight away. And I think that is, I am forefront of tech and I love tech, and I have my perplexity, I have comments and things like that. But there's little things that were too far ahead that I didn't like them taking the control for me.
I think that's really fair. And I think some things are really overhyped, right? Like ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT is amazing, yes, right? It can be incredibly powerful. I think people really need, if they're not using it, they need a corporate subscription to ChatGPT. I would be incredibly nervous as a business owner about my team putting information into their personal ChatGPTs. Like that's very dangerous, right? For a whole host of reasons.
No, I do pay for mine. I pay a lot of money. I pay for the Teams version, which I think is one of the highest ones, which is £60 a month.
Yeah, we do too.
But I use it with the agents and things like that, and it's invaluable now what it does for me. But I'm very cautious that I still don't touch it with client data.
No, exactly, and it does need checking, right? Like it's amazing. It's so seductive, right? I think little point tasks, quick ways of doing a formula in Google Sheets, it can really save you a lot of time. But even when we've used it for tax and legal questions, we've been quite astonished at how wrong it can be. And there's the accountant. At the rate we're going, accountants aren't going to be going anywhere as a source of advice if the advice ChatGPT sometimes gives us anything to go by.
No, I think for me, it's been the greatest thing. It's been like more of a personal assistant to me. So I've asked it to go into Outlook each morning, tell me what my schedule is and where my blocks are to do my bookkeeping. It's also done things like schedule events for me, things like that. It's helped me decide my content planning. But the financial side of it, I'm still very, very cautious. The fact that I think only once I put a sentence in and asked it to explain it in non-accounting terms for a client to explain it to them, because it came up with the grammar a lot better in simple terms rather than gobbledygook that HMRC give us.
That's the thing, isn't it? It can do so many things. It doesn't necessarily mean it can do all of them perfectly. You've got to. It's almost like you've got to treat it like a human, right? Like if you just hired a person, you wouldn't expect that person to be amazing at everything. It's good at some things. It can be trained in other things, and some things it will never be good at.
No.
And I could hire a 21-year-old and ask them something, and if they were really good at, it's very fluent at pretending. It doesn't mean it knows. I mean, we love it actually. We have some quite a different language sets in the team, and just even things like putting Adfin language through it or support articles, and correcting the grammar, making sure it's super clear. That's super helpful for a lot of the teams. So that's good use.
So my question to you now is, there is a lot of software choices out there, and we go to all these events with all these bright shiny new things. What is your key advice to those who get overwhelmed by all of the choices out there? Because obviously you're seeing it from a different side as a tech provider and a problem solver. What can you give us as a key advice on the overwhelmness we get?
Oh, that's a good question.
Sorry.
So selfishly, obviously, I should say try everything, right? But
Yeah.
that is not what I think is actually the best thing to do. So I
Yeah.
genuinely, there are lots of software companies that will start and fail very quickly. That's the nature of
Yeah.
software companies. So I would say your first questions to software vendors as an accountant going to Accountex and seeing something shiny in you, you need to look at you're not looking at the software, you're looking at the team that's building the software. Because what you actually need to assess is this a credible team of people who've got a lot of money behind them and therefore are going to be doing this for a long time? Because if they're not, then there's a very high chance that you're going to get on board and either you find out they don't know what they're doing and therefore you've wasted a bunch of time, or you find out they don't have any money or a credible business model and therefore they're going to go bust and therefore you've wasted a lot of time. So I do think, the first questions when people go to Accountex and things shouldn't be, oh, what's this cool thing? It should be, okay, tell me, give me your credentials, right? Like, do you guys know what you're doing? And then secondly, do you have a business model that's going to work? If someone tells you something's free, guys, there's been an example in the last week of that, right? Like a popular software provider that was, offering something for free that I know full well as a payments person is not free. And it was only a matter of time before this company was going to realize that, you can't give stuff away forever. So if something sounds too good to be true, it's probably not. It is too good to be true. We had this problem when we started Adfin. We were like, shall we make direct debits really, really cheap, right?
Yeah.
Like really cheap, just to get everybody really excited. And I think it would have worked. We'd have got loads and loads and loads of adoption. But the problem is direct debits are not cheap, right? Like you have to pay the underlying scheme costs, and some of the scheme costs are quite high. If someone goes bust, we can pick up the can, right? And you don't want to be in a situation where you're going to go bust because your customers are going bust. We also realize if you do that and then you put prices up, which is what everybody does, right? Start low and then put prices up. Then all you do is just alienate people because they go, hang on, I trusted you in the early days. I came onto your software, right? And then you put prices up and now you've left me high and dry. It's not fair. So no, we probably could have grown quicker in the early days had we been free or cheap, but now we have a good business, so I'm happy. And we actually put prices down 2 weeks ago, I should say.
Hence my post on LinkedIn last week regarding software providers not looking after small people. They've jumped all of a sudden because obviously they provided unrealistic pricing at the beginning. So I think that's where it's left people such as me who are small practitioners who have probably about half a dozen or a dozen clients, because we have big ones. We can't have the amount of clients that they need us to dictate those lower prices. So hence that rings completely true what you've just said. So I agree with that.
We're also a bit unique at Adfin in the sense that because, one of the reasons we realised I wish I was clever enough to work this out before we went to Accountex last year. We've realised that actually accountants are fantastic customers of ours, partly also because your clients are essentially vetted by you, right? Like if you recommend as a client, one of the biggest risks for me as a business is onboarding fraudsters. Fraudsters can completely take down a company like Adfin because if I onboard a fraudulent business, they accept a bunch of fraudulent payments, they then go bankrupt and disappear. I'm left holding the can and have to refund all those defrauded customers. Well, actually, if you recommend Natasha a client of yours, well, they're definitely not a fraudster because you look at their books, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's actually brilliant for us. So for us, actually, we make a massive loss on all small accounts and bookkeepers. We need a lot of volume to make money in Adfin, but we don't mind because your clients and your referrals, the net effect of you as a business is actually way more positive than just your own receivables. So for us, the business makes tons of sense, but it's not the case for everyone.
Right, final round. So we're in the quick fire round now. So iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Oh yeah.
QuickBooks Zero or Sage?
Well, I mean, we use Xero, so I guess I have to answer Xero, but I'm not qualified to have assessed all three at all.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Cool. One piece of tech or business wisdom you wish you'd learned at the start rather than now?
Yeah, that's a good question. One piece of tech or business which I wish I'd learned at the start.
It's a tough question. It does get a lot of people thinking.
Yeah. It's kind of obvious, but just go and talk to as many customers as you can from day one in whatever format it was.
Yeah.
We did that fairly early, like after a few months, but I kind of just wish like before we done anything, we just could have gone to Accountex and talked to people. We did that probably 4 months after starting, and that would have saved us 4 months of development if we'd just been there at the very beginning.
Yeah, perfect. My final question for you today, Tom, is finally, what app do you think is underrated and deserves a little bit more love?
It's a controversial answer.
Okay.
Twitter. Well, not now X.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, if you want to really learn about something in the world, there are so many very interesting people. They may only have 1,000 followers, but if you can find those interesting people tweeting out and stuff, you can get a little. I find it such a great way to download the broader set. Like, you can basically tailor news to the things you actually care about, right? Go find the people who are tweeting about secure accounting software. Go find the people tweeting about AI. There's some great people doing all this for free on X, and I really went off it after Elon Musk bought it, and now I'm back on and I'm completely addicted again.
See, I go on there and follow my MotoGP races, so that's what I do. So it's tailored for me, MotoGP, so that's it. So yeah,
that's it, right? And I bet some of the people that are tweeting on that are not big hundreds of thousands celebrities, right? They're just going to be other passionate people. So it's a great concept. It just got its reputation took a big hit, well, for good reason.
So that's it. So thank you very much for answering all my questions today. Hope you didn't find it too tough.
No.
And thank you for everybody for joining us.
Brilliant. Yeah, really appreciate you having me on. Thanks, Natasha.
Okay, thank you. I'll pop Adfin's details at the bottom of the podcast so you can get in touch with them. And thank you for everybody for joining us.